because there will be 5 speakers. होटल्स में ये होता है कि अब 6 बजे खाली करना है सर, तो हम अपना टारगेट 5 बजे का रखते हैं और उसके बाद इसको. So today we will be having 5 speakers. है जी, वो तो हाँ 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 5 से 5:30. नहीं कोई कल भी कोई गया नहीं था, आज भी नहीं जाए. भाई 5 बजे हमने एक वैलिडिक्टरी रखा है. वन चीफ जस्टिस इज कमिंग. आई थिंक विल बी गिविंग ए मोमेंटो टू ऑल, token of appreciation. You can say the attendance to this conference. So the speaker for today is one is Mr. Subrata Chakravarti. I think he is loading presentation. Subrata, are you here? Yeah, yes, you are there. So you come to the dais, please. He'll speak on climate change, and he has got almost 15 years of experience on climate change. He is MSc in energy system. तो मेरे को भी लग रहा था MSc energy system. I think this I heard first time. So welcome, Mr. Subrata. We have Mr. Sandeep Thang. He is the director of Indian Federation of Green Energy, and he is also director for MEC Forestry. He is a member of Niti Aayog subcommittee, and he is expert in bamboo to biofuel. So that is his forte, and he is one of the member in Maharashtra government also for the same mission, bamboo to biofuel. मैं सोचा अभी किसी ने क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया क्या, वो बाद में उनसे पूछना, मेरे से नहीं पूछना. बैम्बू टू बायोफ्यूल मुझे भी नहीं जाता है. आई हर्ड अबाउट बट आई एम नॉट अवेयर अबाउट कि क्या हो कैसे बनता है. नेक्स्ट वी हैव HN जोशी जी. ही इज ए चीफ जनरल मैनेजर ONGC renewable initiatives. He'll talk because one of the plant which we installed in Jaisalmer, 102 megawatt. What are the challenges in installing this? So I think जोशी जी कहाँ गए, अभी यहीं बैठे थे. आई थिंक ही माइट बी कमिंग, बाहर चले गए हैं थोड़ा सा. So he'll be talking about that, what are the different problems you face, because we had a lot of difficulties in getting that to take off that, because nearby military installations were there and all. So he'll be talking about what kind of challenges are there when you go for this kind of big projects. We have with us Mr. Shekhar R. Kulkarni. I think Shekhar ji, Center of Excellence. अच्छा अच्छा, ये बार बार मुझे Center of Excellence याद आता है. He is a director in and R&D activities. He is looking after. He is director of Center for High Technology. So he is looking after that, and he is one of the directors there. So he'll be talking about the challenges in this industry, and I think for more than 3 years he is director there. So basically he'll talk about R&D activities in hydrogen. What are the different kind of R&D activities are going on, and how the center is. Mr. Joshi is here now. Please come to the dais. वो आपका नेम प्लेट लग जाएगा अभी. वो दूसरा जोशी का नाम बन गया था, HN की जो PK. So we have one more personality here. I think she was here just now. I think might be going outside. Joy Agarwal. I think many of you might be knowing her. जानते कितने लोग जानते हैं जोया अग्रवाल? तो वो जानती है, आप भी जानते हैं. एक न्यूज़ था, हेड बना था कि यस, a flight from San Francisco with all women crew of Air India flew back to Bangalore 17 hours. That is Joy Agarwal. She is here, I think, just She was here, might be gone for some. So she'll be talking about aviation sector, how we can make the aviation sector green. She is also in UN representative, and she is a spokesperson for generation equality, not gender, generation equality. She is a spokesperson for that in UN. एंड यूएन में आपने उनके अगर यूएन वाली साइट आप खोलेंगे तो उसमें आपको जया अग्रवाल की फ़ोटो भी दिखाई देगी. वो शी इज़ टेकिंग लॉट ऑफ इनिशिएटिव्स. So she'll be coming in a minute. So these are the 5 speakers we have with us. So I welcome all of them. So we can start with Shekhar Subrato Chakravarti. Subrato, please.
Thank you so much for having me here. Uh, I was wearing mask the whole time because I recently recovered from COVID. So, uh, yes, I'm like I could not contract COVID during the first waves and second wave and third wave, but now even I'm in that list. Anyway, uh, so I thought that probably we can talk about some of the benefits. There are a lot of conjecture around the decarbonization aspect and the kind of targets that India have taken, the climate targets, the climate goals, which India is yet to sort of submit to UNFCCC. I just thought that we will talk about some of the benefits and benefits of the decarbonization. Uh, but rather than focusing just on energy and just on power sector, I thought that probably we can take the economy as a whole, right? So what we understand from the current state of play is that GDP is expected to triple by 2050. We are likely to add 200 million more people by 2050, and the emissions is, and when I say emissions, it's greenhouse gas emissions, that is going to double, more than double by 2050 as compared to the BAU scenario. Now, this data basically represents the importance of why we need to really consider the climate goals, why we really need to mainstream the climate action into the developmental agenda. So we wanted to understand how the emission scenario would look like, what will be the impacts on the job, what will be the economic impacts of decarbonization policies. And when we talk about all these things, India really need to, answer a very critical question. And that question is whether it is possible to think about decarbonization along with economic growth and not putting the developmental growth into the category of risk, right? So we wanted to understand that, and we created this fantastic simulator. It's called Energy Policy Simulator. It is available online. I can share the link uh, there, and it covers all the key economic sectors, right? So you can play around with the policies and see how the emissions change over time. The simulator is currently uh, it is possible to simulate the impact on the energy demand, the impact of emissions, what will be the impact on uh, some of the economical packages due to these decarbonization policies till 2050. We are working incredibly hard to increase it till 2070 because now India has a net zero goal of 2070, right? uh, so these are basically a few lines about energy policy simulator. It's an open system, as I mentioned. It's a system dynamics energy policy simulator. One thing that basically differentiates energy policy simulator from some of the other models is that it's not a forecasting tool. It's basically a what if scenario. For example, if you want to see what will be the impact on air pollution if we combine the policies related to renewable energy along with the policies of transport, say for example EV sales mandate, what will be the impact, right? What will be the impact on the jobs? How many jobs are will be created? Who will be the winner and who will be the loser? Will government make money or it will lose money? Whether it will be possible for some of the other key stakeholders uh, to look at the decarbonization aspect without compromising the economic or the developmental goals. Now, this slide basically showcases the difference between the BAU scenario as well as the decarbonization scenario. Right? What we have done is we have taken all the ambitious policy levers and combined it into a policy package. And then we have compared it with the business as usual scenario. So as you can see, it can lead to almost 65% of reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Now, this basically includes the policy levers related to carbon-free electricity standard. It also includes, mode shifting in the transport sector. It includes electric vehicle sales mandate. It includes all the decarbonization policies that is practically possible to be implemented in the industry sector. So when we combine all those policy packages, what is the impact? And this is basically the impact that we see by the end of 2050. If we take a look at the combined policy packages, we see that in the long-term decarbonization scenario, there are three policies which basically stand out. One is basically switching fossil fuel use in the industrial facilities to the mix of electricity and hydrogen. The second one is the production of hydrogen through electrolysis, where we are sourcing the power from carbon-free electricity standard. And third one is the early retirement of otherwise non-retiring coal power plants. Now, having said this, it doesn't necessarily mean that other policy packages or other policies that are included in these policy packages are not important. They are equally important. Some of the noteworthy policy packages are carbon-free electricity standard, material efficiency, uh, energy efficiency standards in buildings, etc. Right? But they provide you with a long term, when we talk about the profitability of implementing these policies, it gives you a long term benefit, and we'll see in some of the other slides. Now, when we talk about decarbonization, we basically talk about moving away from the fossil fuels, right? But it has implications uh, over the economy. And what we analyzed is that when we move away from the fossil fuel industry, it basically decreases some of the government revenues, right? For obvious reasons, from the exploration of the coal, but it also helps in developing certain industries which are basically the result of the decarbonization outlook that government has. For example, obviously renewable energy is there, but we also have decarbonization policies in transport sector where there will be jobs and employment opportunities created in the auto sector. So all these things basically would lead to what you see, this humongous figure in the slide. right? This is the kind of uh, money that will be generated by the decarbonization policies. And if we see the impact of these policies, the individual policies, we see that those policies which does not really involve any kind of investment are the least cost policies. So according to our analysis, mode shifting, is a least cost policy where it provides an savings of almost 16,000 per tons of CO2. Similarly, when we talk about retiring the inefficient coal-fired power plants, it gives us a saving in terms of emissions. It is having the uh, largest reduction potential, emission reduction potential. Uh, you can see on the right-hand side of this particular slide, we have certain graphs which are basically going up. These are basically decarbonization policies, but they require some sort of investment. For example, hydrogen, right? So we are talking about uh, application of hydrogen in the industries. We are also sort of talking about application of hydrogen in the transport sector. All this would require some sort of R&D that has to come from the government, some sort of subsidies that also need to come from the government, right? So those basically do not really feature in the least cost policies, but going forward, as we have seen in case of solar, we never know, the price of hydrogen might as well come down, right? So this graph is likely to change. But this is basically the current situation as per the current plan and policies. What we also wanted to sort of focus on is the generation of the jobs. And there is a lot of friction around this particular topic, right? So there will be certain job losses when we talk about decarbonization. For example, job losses in the fossil fuel industry, whether there is a possibility of having a transitional plan for the people who are working in the fossil fuel industry. So this is where basically the concept of just transition comes in. We are also working with, as an organization, we have recently started basically working with MSME sector, because we believe they are basically the driver of of clean energy transition in India. So what we have analyzed from our analysis and combining all these policy packages is that there is a potential of creating additional 40 million jobs by the end of 2050. And obviously all these policy packages will help in the welfare of human being, reduced premature death, reduced respiratory, reduced hospital expenses, which has increased manifold in last 2 years, right? So there is a possibility of avoiding almost more than 7 lakh premature death by 2050 if we are successful in implementing all these policies. So this slide basically captures the entire discussion that, or all the slides that we have discussed so far. The only difference is that I have divided the policies in terms of which policies will be impactful till 2030 and which policies will be impactful till 2050. uh, and this is basically in nutshell. We are basically helping the GDP to grow. We are creating jobs by implementing these decarbonization policies. Obviously we are saving in terms of billions of rupees, and also we are almost reducing the emissions by one third by 2050. So I'll end my presentation here, and I'll probably be around by like 5 to 10 minutes because I have to rush to another meeting. But thank you so much for having me here, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Subrato. Thank you very much. He was talking about hydrogen. So next, we will call the next speaker who will be doing a lot of R&D on hydrogen. So before that, actually, Subrato have to leave. See, he's having some meetings lined up. So I'll request whom I think Mr. Vinod Kumar from NSIC. Give a momento. Momento ne kya? For Subrato Chakravarti. So now we have the next speaker is. Before that, I would like to invite Mr. Gaurav Singh Thakur. Actually, he has come here. He will be speaking on consumer awareness on green technology. He's आप थोड़ा बैठेंगे यहाँ पे. मैं आपको बाद में बुलाऊंगा. बस some last minute changes because we wanted a good speakers. So the person who was to come, he has been called by chief secretary, so he's not coming. So we have made last minute changes in the program, in the speaker, but you'll get the quality speaker. I can assure you that they will be sharing good knowledge with you. So I request Mr. Shekhar Kulkarni to come and give the R&D. What R&D is going happening in green.
Yeah, at the outset, let me say good afternoon to everybody. Uh, it is a wonderful opportunity to be amongst the technocrats over here. Uh, Respected fellow colleagues on the dais, the organizing committee led by Mr. Deendayal Agarwal, Mr. Mahavir, and the eminent speakers and my dear friends. Afternoon sessions are quite heavy, so I'll try to fill it up with the green energy, which is desperately needed for today's occasion. दोस्तों कहते हैं ना जान है तो जहां है as the civilization has progressed as the civilization has progressed we have explored various energy sources for the well-being of human being. This has been there has been a significant impact on the environment, and without bold intervention, next generation will find it extremely difficult to survive. Energy mix consists of non-renewable like fossil fuel, coal, gas, nuclear energy, to name a few, and renewable energies like uh, wind, solar, hydro, etc., are being consumed today. Uh, if you look at the periodic table, like the energy mix, predominantly we are saying about the carbon. So carbon with atomic number 6. We have gone to nuclear power with, say, uranium of atomic number 92. Now the time has come that we need to revisit the periodic table. Let us start fresh with the revisiting. So the number comes is first, that is hydrogen. You can load those slides. Achha, sorry. So my today's presentation is going to cover about R&D initiative on hydrogen in India. See, this is basically a hydrogen circle. If you look at hydrogen can be produced from the renewable energy, that is solar, wind or hydel. And the hydrogen can meet the requirement of fuel cells, which in turn runs the automobile industry. Hydrogen can supplement the industrial use as well. And the beauty of hydrogen is that combustion product itself is water. So as we are struggling for water, like today we have been importing crude, almost 85% of the crude is being imported. Tomorrow a time may come if you, as everybody knows that potable water is around 2 to 3% on earth. So we have to be really judiciously using the water footprint. And the combustion product being water, it is quite eco-friendly. This is the hydrogen cycle. My content is basically covering the policy measures, policy initiative, the hydrogen production pathways, activities CST is engaged with, then initiative by Indian corporates and challenges in hydrogen economy, opportunities for R&D. Uh, India, as we know, is the fastest growing economy and will need more energy to cater to its demand amidst climate change. India's energy future has got four pillars: energy access, energy efficiency, energy sustainability, and energy security. None of the items can be compromised. Although India's per capita CO2 emission is only at 1.9 versus 6.5 of EU, 8.1 of China, and 15.5 tons of USA, we have made a strong commitment by our Honorable Prime Minister that let us be aligned towards the Paris Protocol, and there were projections given, and the roadmap was given in last meeting at Glasgow. So the takeaway from the meeting is 500 gigawatt of non-fossil electricity by 2030, then reduction to of by 45% of carbon intensity by 2030, and net zero or say carbon neutral by 2070. Now, when we say that one stick we can easily break, but together when we become strong, we'll be able to handle it well. So let us align ourselves so that the targets are being met by our collective efforts. Now, the slide covers move toward decarbonization. My colleague has already covered some of them. India will chart its own course of energy transition in a responsive manner. That has been demonstrated at various forums, and ambitious targets have been achieved. Just to name a one, we had got ethanol blending target in MS, that 10% of ethanol to be blended in MS pan India basis by 2022. The target was achieved in June itself. So when there is alignment by all the corporate, the businessmen, the PSU companies, the results are phenomenal. Then, as you know, that there has been significant investment, so thereby the tariffs are going to be quite attractive. So there is not going to be a economic dent on it. Then India is blessed with abundant biomass, so there is an opportunity exists to convert waste into energy. Then India is having lot of coal resource. Our typically powers is contributed by almost 40% through coal only. So there is a potential exists. However, the challenge of carbon capture has to be mitigated. Then falling cost of renewables offer potential for green hydrogen production and its utilization through mandate by for refineries, fertilizer units, mixing with natural gas in pipelines. This is a very good initiative wherein we have already demonstrated that up to 15 to 18% of hydrogen can be blended with the existing CNG network, and the buses are being run on a trial basis. The results are quite encouraging. Then, Prime Minister of India has announced National Hydrogen Mission on last Independence Day with a ambition to boost growth of green hydrogen in India to work towards being energy independent. The government announced the first part of National Green Hydrogen Policy on in February 2022, a move amid at making India net zero by 2070, meeting its climate commitment at the recently concluded COP26 summit, and make India energy independent by 2047. So the import will be restricted, we will be energy independent as far as target is concerned by 2047 and net zero by 2070. Under the policy, government has waived off transmission charges for 25 years for such unit, allowing them to buy uh, the power transfer. The second phase of Green Hydrogen Mission is under finalization. India's competitive edge, coupled with government's efforts, would not only make green hydrogen highly valuable, but also potentially make India the cheapest hydrogen producer globally. There is a saying that India is trying for one concept, $1 per kg of hydrogen by within a decade's time. So that is what is being targeted. This will help in meeting the target of production of 5 million tons of green hydrogen by 2030 and related development of renewable energy capacity. This slide talks about uh, the role of hydrogen in the energy transition. If you look at, there are seven items available over here. The energy, large scale renewable integration and power generation, that is at the generation level. Then there are distribution energy across sectors and regions. Then act as a buffer to increase system resilience. Because when you look at hydrogen production through, say, green energy or say solar or wind, when you say that it is, if it is only solar, the green energy is available at only one third of the time. Other thing we have to depend on the grid energy only. When it becomes hybrid model, it becomes 50% availability. Then, from the consumption point of view, we will be decarbonizing the transport sector. Then decarbonize the industrial use, like refinery. There is a roadmap, 10% reduction in hydrogen, which was being consumed from the SMR source, to be replaced by green hydrogen produced from the green electricity and the electrolysis way. This will help in decarbonizing the industry. Also, there is a need to decarbonize building, heating, and power. As we all know that earlier our childhood, we never used to bother about whether AC is there or not. Even people did not have coolers also, air coolers. Now AC has become must. So climate-wise, we are more susceptible. The environment is not conducive. So let us make a green building effort wherein the energy requirements are quite less. We can have solar panel at the every building. It can be a mandatory move that before giving the occupancy certificate, all things have to be checked by the regulatory authorities. Then hydrogen can be serve as feedstock using captured carbon. See, these are basically different production pathways for hydrogen. To name a few, like one is the electrolysis route, the conventional one is SMR based route. Then biomass gasification also leads to hydrogen production. Then there's a one more thermochemical water splitting route available. Then methane pyrolysis also can produce hydrogen. And then coal gasification with CCUS also can produce hydrogen. So there are ample opportunities for producing hydrogen. And why I am stressing on hydrogen? Because hydrogen is going to be the alternate in days to come. Because enough is enough. Fossil fuel has created a lot of nuisance to our environment. So let us try to address it. The slide is basically talking about the hydrogen value chain. I think most of the things are self-explanatory. I'll just skip through. Now coming to the activities coordinated by CST, we have been analyzing the R&D projects wherein hydrogen is being used. So one such project is that dispensing of hydrogen, and this is being funded through Hydrogen Corpus Fund. Then interaction with prospective indigenous hydrogen electrolyzer manufacturer. We are inviting R&D proposals wherein hydrogen is produced through different kinds of electrolyzer made, uh, PEM cells and all that. Then we are supporting the policy making through our technical expertise. Then CHT is conducting regular webinars on products subject related to hydrogen. CHT is part of the hydrogen task force. This is basically the HCNG interim technology. The advantage of CNG over hydrogen is quite visible. There is a reduction in CO2 emission, which is a significant achievement. There is a NOx reduction possible. Then hydrogen can be blended in the pipeline, as I just mentioned. IC, there's a project, IC is supporting for the trial of 50 buses in Delhi. So that is a very good initiative by IC. These are the basically initiatives by these are basically initiatives by corporates, demo projects on hydrogen fuel cell technologies. Then these are the some of the initiatives by corporates, like Reliance has already supported for a big investment, 75,000 crores over 3 years time to build clean energy business, meeting the environmental target by 2035. Then GAIL, the plans are available. Likewise, BPCL also collaborated with Baba Atomic Research Center, a scale-up production of alkaline electrolyzer for commercial use. These are the initiative by ISC, NTPC, LNT, Adani, and HPCL. So, what I am trying to emphasize over here is everybody is aligned for the hydrogen roadmap. As far as the funding is concerned, these are the projects which are being funded through CST. The setting up of hydrogen CNG dispensing station by IOCL, then demonstration project uh, of use of hydrogen HCNG blends in heavy duty buses, then pilot project on hydrogen fuel cells mobility, then hydrogen production from natural gas by catalytic decomposition HPCL R&D project, then hydrogen generation by thermochemical process, this is by OEC, then design and construction of metal organic framework material for hydrogen storage, this is by HPCL with Geetham University. Now everything doesn't look to be so rosy. So there are challenges as far as the hydrogen is concerned. One is that the if you look at the electrolyzer based hydrogen production, the requirement of water, like per kg of hydrogen produced, you require almost 10 kg of water, DM water, deionized water, and if you take in terms of say raw water, it becomes 20. So huge water is required. The power requirement is also for 1 kg of hydrogen production, almost 50 kilowatt power is required. So these are the basically challenges. Plus, when it comes to storage, hydrogen has to be stored at very high pressure. So all this compression and decompression, the lot of energy being wasted. Hydrogen requires special storage equipment. The transportation is also tricky. When I was going through a Google, I found that half kg hydrogen, the storage vessel is as bulky as 25 kg. So a lot of dead weight you are carrying. So on one hand, hydrogen is future of energy, but as we progress, like we are recently launched conventional like metallic cylinder for LPG. We are having plastic cylinders also. So innovative technology will help us in achieving the target. I think I'll conclude over here. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
शेखर बहुत थोड़े टाइम में बहुत सारी चीज़ें बता दी शेखर जी ने. So now you see this Center of High Technology is doing a lot of high technology work. And he has told that yes, hydrogen, definitely storage is a challenge in the morning. I was also discussing that. So let us see how the technology evolved and we come out with the lighter vessels where we can store the hydrogen at a uh, you know, higher pressure with the हाँ बोला रहा हूँ, with a less weight. So we have one more speaker who actually he was to the timing was about 16:30, but we have merged both the session, so that's why we have informed and easier. So I would like to invite Mr. Anush Sharma on dais. He is the chairman of E-Rickshaw Committee, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. So we welcome you, sir. And the next speaker is Mr. Thang, Sandeep Thangji. So I would like to request Mr. Thang to come and give his presentation.
Good afternoon to all. Uh, I think I'm here to basically share green energy related happenings. Already, most of the things covered by Dr. Kulkarni uh, on hydrogen and green energy and everything. But still, as an industry association, we have some green energy related issues still need to be solved. So that's the reason our organization, Indian Federation of Green Energy, is working. And interestingly, I think today's topic is very apt to connect CSR with green energy, because there are a lot of things to be done on ground with the communities and with the farmers, because feedstock for all the green energy or the biofuel or the biomass, which Dr. Kulkarni was mentioning, will definitely come from the farmers and the communities. So basically, I would like to go. Uh, so basically, IFG. I would like to introduce IFG before we move ahead. IFG is basically a association of green energy industries for their issues to be tackled with government level or the institutional level or the legal frameworks or the taxation framework related to the bioenergy or biofuel, biomass. There are many issues whenever new industries or the new sector starts. So there are many industries come up. So we deal with that and we engage with the government, state government, central government on these issues. Our mission basically to transform our energy, fossil energy into green energy. Definitely, yes, public awareness is one of the thing which we do regularly. At the same time, dealing with the government bodies and the policy makers to make the changes, because it's a nascent stage industry at the moment. uh, IFG's idea was basically conceptualized by these two, I think, very well-known gentlemen from India. So their idea was to create a body where green energy-related issues will be dealt by one single body, rather than it will be dealt with by the general industrial body. And we have very good founder members which already engage themselves in the green energy related things, either financial sector, in the finance sector, or in the energy sector, or in the automobile sector. So we have very good members as a founding partners for this federation. And this federation is basically led by Dr. Anna Saab Patil, who is ex former Minister of Rural Development, Government of India, and India's ethanol man, Dr. Pramod Chaudhary. He is a you can say ethanol man from India. He is the person who is promoting ethanol, and his industry, Praj industry, is the leading industrial player or the supplier, technology supplier for the world for the ethanol. And yes, of course, I am also there. So I am working. Beside this, I am promoting bamboo as one of the energy feedstocks. So definitely, as I said, CSR and the green energy will definitely go hand in hand. So how? So definitely, I will explain into my next slides that how we will connect that green energy and CSR things through bamboo. So that's the reason I think my organization wanted me to speak on organization behalf. These are the few achievements IFG has did in the last few years. You might know that there was a forest act on bamboo harvesting, growing, transportation, or the commercial utilization of bamboo. So basic things what we did, we identified a species which is a very good feedstock around the year, or for the biofuel or the biomass industry, which will be a weatherproof crop for farmers as well. So that's the reason we choose bamboo as one of the feedstock, and we are promoting bamboo as a feedstock. The basic hindrance for that was the policy. Government of India was having Forest Act led by Britishers in 1927. So we are continuing that legacy, and bamboo was restricted to harvest and transport and sell. If you have bamboo in your farm, you have to go to the government for the permission and all these things. So we first attacked that hindrance, and we tried to solve it. We convinced our government, and government was very pleased to change that forest act or amend that forest act by deregularizing bamboo or the removing bamboo from the forest act. So now anyone can grow bamboo, transport, harvest, and sell bamboo if he owns the land. So there is no restriction on the bamboo right now, and bamboo is now a free commodity. And same time, there was no biofuel policy or policy related to the bioenergy in the country. So we help government of India to formulate the biofuel policy. So how we can move ahead in the biofuel sector in the country. Still, we are continuing with the EV policy and the national bamboo mission, along with the other issues we are dealing with the green energy sector. So these are some of the events in last for, as I said, we are dealing with government, so we need to convince government along with the stakeholder consultation. So we did a lot of events related to the green energy, solar, wind, bioenergy, biofuel, bamboo. So these are the some, and interestingly, we run some India's first green energy award in the country. There was no green energy award in the country before, so we started India Green Energy Award in 1918, and now still we are continuing that green energy award annually. So yes, so now I'm coming back to the topic, which will be definitely solving your CSR related issues or the community related issues when we are looking biomass or the bio feedstock related to the bioenergy. So bamboo definitely a disruptive technology, because we are I think everyone is now talking about the climate change. I think most of the speaker, and I think WRI speaker also was talking about the climate risks. So this slide is quite self-explanatory, that World Economic Forum has chalked out 10 risks to the businesses, and out of that 10, 6 to 7 risks are from the climate related issues. So how, you can understand how climate change is a bigger issue for everyone, not only for just as a common man to adding expenditure for AC in the home, but it's a business risk. And you can say what are see the how we are emitting as a India, as a country. uh, so now how government of India or the energy industry from the country is tackling this climate change, and how they are responding. Government of India, I mean, already started some policies related to the ethanol procurement. I think Dr. Kulkarni was mentioning about ethanol, hydrogen. So all these coming up in response to that climate change related issues, because we are not, climate change is not only the issue for us. We are energy deprived country, so energy sourcing is also a kind of issue with the country. We are almost importing 8 lakhs crores of worth oil from other countries. So that is an also a big issue. And already petroleum ministry, power NTPC is also now mandating 10% of biomass blend in their coal based power plant or thermal operated power plants in the country. And interestingly, as IFG, we started promoting biomass or bamboo with the cement industry also. Now they are also convinced that bamboo can be a best replica for the coal. So we'll move ahead on the what are the emerging opportunities for bamboo as a feedstock or as a energy stock for the country. Already ethanol, 2G ethanol tenders has been floated by many of the OMCs from the government of India. Already NTPC has already putting up tenders for sourcing of the biomass pellets on their all power plants throughout the country. So I think now I will skip this slide, because already we have moved this target from 5% to 10% of ethanol blending, and our target is going to be a 20%. So if you see, I am I have mentioned that there is a uh, kind of plantation requirement. If we go for bamboo based ethanol for fulfilling that requirement, we need 256,000 hectare of land for the bamboo plantation. And definitely this will create a kind of a job employment at rural level, at farmer level. And definitely it will solve the purpose of not only the energy need, but it will solve the purpose of carbon emission, which we are talking since morning or since yesterday, I think. So definitely once you are going to plant a bamboo on a wasteland, so definitely it will generate the sequester the carbon and generate the oxygen. So definitely that will help us in that way also. So already people farmer through National Bamboo Mission, farmer are producing high yielding bamboo varieties and going for precision farming techniques. And assured there is an assured market right now. We are engaging ourselves with procuring bamboo for the industry. And definitely this will solve the major aim of government of India of regenerating or restoring wasteland by 2030. Government of India has committed that they will restore the wasteland of 30 million hectare by 2030. So I think bamboo is a very good opportunity for this, and definitely it's a very good opportunity for CSR organization to engage with the farmers or the engage with the corporate to go for community based bamboo farming, or the federation organizing them into federation or kind of a FPOs for growing bamboo and engaging their forward linkage with the industry, those who are looking as a feedstock for their ethanol or the energy or their coal requirement. So here I would like to mention that bamboo is a perfect replica of coal. Rather, it is an advantageous than coal. By bamboo has characteristics that matching with the coal. So at the moment there are three major items which which are we are using right now for the power generation. That is, one is bagasse, and then coal is the major thing. So if you compare bamboo in between coal and bagasse, the bamboo is definitely advantageous because the calorific value is definitely matching with the coal. At the same time, advantage is that it is generating jobs on ground with the rural communities. And interestingly, it is having traceable sulfur, so there is no need for going desulfurization plant. When you go for the coal based power plant, you have to have the desulfurization plant as well right now to curb the sulfur emission. So that will also be solved by bamboo. uh, Here I tried to mention how, I mean, we can engage bamboo farming for particular sector, and how much bamboo tonnage will be required for that particular sector if we want to go for that replication of the bamboo as instead of coal. So this is basically India's coal requirement sector-wise by CNG electricity we have mentioned here. And then if we want to replace that with bamboo, definitely we need to have the 2,400 million tons of bamboo as a feedstock. And if you want to go 2,400 million tons of bamboo, means definitely you have to work with the farmers communities to grow the bamboo. And interestingly, bamboo is a weatherproof crop, so that I will come to that slide also again. uh, and it is a comparable to any major cash crops in the country. We consider sugarcane, cotton, or in case of eucalyptus, which is been grown by Haryana, Punjab, and other farmers. So I had tried to compare bamboo with all these major cash crops being used by farmers for growing, I mean, in their field. So if you see, there is a clear-cut advantage of bamboo, and interestingly, it is a weatherproof crop. If there is an heavy rains, then there is an issue with cotton or the sugarcane. But interestingly, bamboo will survive or in heavy rains also. And if there is a drought, then also bamboo will survive. So that's the reason I'm talking that bamboo is a weatherproof crop. And interestingly, it will definitely a very good mix for industry as a feedstock. If you grow industry want to himself engage with the growing of the feedstock, then definitely it will be a very cheaper alternative for them against the coal. And there was a one before Britishers left India. There was one forester who left India after independence. Before that, he was handling Forest Research Institute and Indian Forester journal, which is related to the scientific forest in the country. And he mentioned that without bamboo, Indian will be poorer and very poor and very poor. So I think we need to think upon bamboo as one of the energy feedstock for all your solid fuel, gaseous fuel, and liquid fuel, because bamboo is an exact replica of coal, so it can replace your solid fuel. And interestingly, it can be a feedstock for ethanol, so it can solve your liquid fuel requirement. And definitely already many of our members now producing bio CNG so from bamboo, so it is a uh, I mean a kind of a feedstock for gaseous fuel as well, so it will solve the purpose of all the three energy needs as a feedstock. Thank you. I think I talked about bamboo a lot, and because here through CSR, how to engage with green energy. So that will be, I think, miss sector. I thought in the CSR domain. So I tried to convince you all CSR people to engage. And you use bamboo as one of the theme in your CSR domain. So definitely it will be a kind of a feedstock for all energy needs. So I think it will solve both the issues related to the energy as well as the climate change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Mr. Thang was very much passionate about bamboos, and really one should be. And bamboo already many other PSUs are doing on this. I remember that Numaligarh refinery, they are going in a big way from making biofuel from bamboo. I think they have acquired a big chunk of the place in Assam, and they are going ahead with this. And Oil India has taken a lead on that. 125 KL. So Oil India has taken the lead on that, and they are doing it. So good. So now next is Sri S.N. Joshi, project difficulties. He will discuss. Mr. Joshi, please.
Good afternoon. Green energy is the need of the time. As a ENP company, we have been given the mandate to have a very, very big target, 10 gigawatt by 2040. ONGC, like any other ENP company in the world, is preparing for transition. If you talk about companies in Europe, BP, they are into diversification. They have given up their ENP budgets. They are going for RE projects. And there are companies which are totally into electricity business. But if we see American companies, ExxonMobil, they are not diversifying. They are doing carbon capture and sequestration. They are trying to reduce the carbon emissions. So every company has to decide its strategy. There are multiple options, whether you want to go for organic growth or inorganic growth. Should I go for wind? Should I go for solar? Hydrogen? So as a company, depending on your money in your pocket and your management's involvement in RE, because it is a top-driven thing. Keeping this apart, I am a project man. I have worked in projects in onshore and offshore engineering services. We handle thousands of crore projects in offshore. But the thing with renewable energy projects is it's a totally different domain. You have to be very, very prepared to take on a renewable energy project. I understand most of the people here may not be from the original RE domain, like we from ENP company. What happens? We try to implement everything in a haste. The first thing we should do is that we should prepare our specification according to the technology we are looking for. Because if your specifications are not correct, then there will be clarifications from the bidders and the whole process will be delayed. Like what happened in our case when we went for 102 megawatt project, we decided that the bidder should have the capacity to supply a particular megawatt capacity machine. But later on, bidders told that you want 102 megawatt. Why you are focusing or insisting on a particular capacity? So we changed the requirement, any capacity, but it should meet our requirement, our energy generation requirement. Then another important thing in RE is the scanning of the market, scanning of the regulatory mechanism. The policies are changing so fast that if you are not keeping a track, you are gone. Again, coming to 102 megawatt project, we prepared the feasibility based on feed-in tariff. There were a lot of incentives available that time, like accelerated depreciation. And while we were tendering, one fine morning we came to know that there is no accelerated depreciation available now. The whole scenario changed. The project which was giving us a return of 18%, suddenly it came to 14%. And then 14%, our internal IRR is 12%. We go for projects in oil and gas when the IRR is more than 12%. And by the time we went to our executive procurement committee for award of the project with 14% IRR, there was a new change. Government, Rajasthan government, where the project was being implemented, they had stopped the feed-in tariff policy. Suddenly said that the preferential tariff will not be given for this project. We had envisaged a tariff of around 4 rupees 50 paisa. And now suddenly we were told you go for REC mechanism. That's a different ball game. Again, the financials were worked out and we found that the IRR was 10%. Now we were in a dilemma, but the company and the management had a will to go for green energy. So beyond the prescribed norms, we decided to go ahead with the project and it was awarded at that time with an IRR of 10%. But things turned again. Our project was having a major hurdle. Now, third point I want to make clear is that you must have the land available with you, whether you are going for a solar project or you are going for a wind project, because availability of land is very, very crucial. People go ahead with tendering and the land is not there. In our tender, same thing happened. Sujlon, who was executing our project, was the biggest player in that market that time, and they said, "Sir, we have obtained the confirmatory letter that land will be given." But we insisted, no, first you make sure the land is allotted to you. Land was allotted. Again, there was a clause that all statutory clearances should be obtained before going ahead with the project. And one of the clause was that we had to obtain NOC from Ministry of Defense, from Air Force. Sujlon said, sir, it is a practice. The project gestation period is 1 year. And at the beginning of the project, we apply for NOC. And by the time the project is complete, NOC is given by government. And when the project completion time came, we came to know that Air Force raised a objection that these wind machines which are in Rajasthan in a particular area, they are a hindrance to the radars of the Air Force. They are unable to scan the arrival of jets or helicopters in that area because all machines, they appear like a helicopter. So it was a very big dilemma. Now we had to go to DRDO also, who had designed the radars, then Ministry of Defense. The project was registered with PMO office. E-Pragati, there was a portal where you can register for any clearance which you are not getting. That was a great support given by government. And then we felt as if we have lost 350 crore rupees. The total project cost was 650 crores, and we had already paid invoices to the tune of 350 crore, and now I am told that no, either you cut the size of your machine, आप अपनी machine को काट के छोटा कर दीजिए ताकि वो line of sight में आ जाए radar के, or you shift it to some other place. The person who is sitting there doesn't know that shifting means entire new project. Saab was also there. We approached to the highest authorities in Air Force, but finally there was a ray of hope. The government constituted a committee of secretaries, Power Secretary, Finance Secretary, MOP, NG, Finance, and Principal Secretary. A decision was taken that, okay, a conditional NOC will be given, but ONGC will have to arrange a separate land and all radars of the Air Force will be shifted to the new place. So, okay, we said there was no, as per contractuals clauses, we all clearances were with Sujlon. So this action was taken. We took up the matter with MEA or MES, Military Engineering Services. They started the job, acquiring of land. So what point I am making is here that you should be very clear that land is in your possession before award of the project. The work should start only when the land is available with you with all possible clearances. Don't keep an iota of doubt that this, the contractors are very smart. They will tell you, yeah, this, sir, I'll obtain this clearance. Because we were from projects background, we had taken that time from them that any eventuality on this account, you can start the work without NOC, but any consequences you will have to bear. So that is why how this project was final. What happened? The committee of secretaries then decided new land purchase. The process of shifting of radars is in progress, and the project was commissioned. And one wonderful thing that happened was that by the time the project was commissioned and the PPA was signed, Rajasthan government brought the preferential tariff policy back. So there was a big gain for us. Now again we were at 16%. So my point is that whenever you are going for a RE project, please make sure you should have a team who keep on scanning the regulatory environment, because small new clauses will come and they will create problem for you. Government wants that we should attain that target of 500 gigawatt by 2030. ONGC is making its efforts, and I appeal to all present here, please make efforts to make that dream come true. Thank you.
जब जोशी सुना रहा था मुझे पूरी चीज़ें याद आ रही थी कि what was happening when the proposal came. And typically when you have a boss with a finances background and you have the policy that you can't approve the project below 14% or 14% of IRR, it's very difficult to convince. They will feel comfortable keeping money in a bank. But you are a public sector, you are a PSU company, you are in oil and gas business, so you are not a finance company. So that you have to make understand the people who are with you and the board that money is to be spent in the business, not in the bank. So we could convince, because I was the in charge director for that, we could convince, and that proposal was through. So that kind of things will definitely happen. So normally in this type of projects, expression of interest is one of the term which is very important. We should go for that, because you cannot be, when you are in a business, different business, you are starting a new business. Renewable is a new business for now, because you are becoming an energy company now. So renewable is new business. So your people may not be knowing many things, which the person who the expert will be knowing about. So call for an expression of interest and then float the tender. What Mr. Joshi wanted to say that. So I thank Mr. Joshi for giving this overview. Thank you very much. So now we have Mr. Gaurav Singh Thakur. He is a founder member of NSG Tech. He will be talking about consumer awareness for green technology.
Thank you so much, sir. I am not carrying any presentation with me right now at the moment, but I'll try to wrap up everything, whatever the speakers were saying for the last 2 days. So we are here to address the main thing. We are talking about the green technology. So we are here to understand what exactly green technology is. We are just focusing on green energy or how we can make energy. But the major part is that how we can make this thing into a product. So that's what I think that all the speakers are missing, that we have to put this green energy into a technology. So there are three broad paradigms, that is air, water, and energy, that we can use all these technologies or the green technology that there are certain things like, for example, let's put this way, like we are talking about the energy sector right now at the moment, but we are not talking about the water that we waste every day. We can take an example of an RO, like we are using RO at every house or every place we are living in. So what is happening is like uh, around 80% of water we are losing from an RO, what we are using at our homes or our places. So you just take an example like this. Uh, Sorry, it's been 3 years now. I haven't been spoken to the podium. Sorry for that, sir. So, okay. So just take an example. So if you're using an RO at a home, so 80% of water is getting wasted. So just you can just compare it from 1,000 homes, or you can just take an example like 100 liters of water we are taking out, and we are using just 20 liters of it. So 80 liter of water is getting into the drain pipe, and we cannot use that water. So if you multiply that 80 liters of water into 1,000 houses, so it's more than 80,000 liters of water is getting wasted in a day, in just a day, and that is potable water. That is completely potable water, and that water can be used or reused for another 2 weeks or 3 weeks time. But here we are just talking about the water, hydrogen power, and all other things. So that's what I was thinking that we are missing. That all these resources are useful, and we should use all the resources judicially, so that we can use them in the coming time. It should not happen that the all these resources will get diminished. So there are technologies that we can use at our places, like zero waste technologies. The purifiers, the water purifiers, they don't waste water, and the other factors are they don't use electricity, they don't use, they don't take out the minerals or the nutrients from the water. That is the most important crucial thing. In 2018, there was a study from Max. It came out in Delhi that the people who had problems in their joints or the bone problems, it is because of the water we are taking in. And that's RO water. Because RO water doesn't have anything into it. It just had uh, no amount of TDS and TDA. It's a zero TDA or TDS we are taking in. And according to WHO also, we should drink water up to 750 TDS or 650 you can take it. Or where there is no water, 1000 TDS we can drink if there's scarcity of water. But right now what we are doing is we are just drinking the water of an RO, but RO is not required. Wherever the municipal water is coming in, this normal single filter is required. That is around 3,000, 4,000 rupees filter. And we are putting our money into the RO. And that is just because of the consumer awareness. Because all these companies, they just put the gamut thing on and sell all their technologies. And we bought those technologies and we bring all those technologies to our homes. So that's where I think the consumer awareness has come into the picture. And this is just one example. And the thing I'm talking is very crucial. Maybe right now you're not taking or you will not take this very seriously, but this is a major problem. The water is getting diminished every day. I'm working in this sector from last 2018. Last when I was in Germany, and I came back from there just because of that. I started as a technology aggregator, so I aggregated all the global technologies and put all those technologies in India on a cheaper rates. And still, that's what I'm doing. So this happened, and there are multiple things. So for me, what green sector is consumer awareness. People think about. I was discussing with a gentleman, and he said there are problems, infrastructure problems, or the other problems. But for me, The major problem is the consumer awareness. You have to create a market first, and then all those problems are degraded. The other problems like infrastructure and all. We have to build the plane while flying it. So we cannot do everything before shifting towards green technologies. We have to think about it, that how it can change, or how it can change our future, how it affects our coming generations. So this is just an one example. We can take other examples like when we talk about the solar. Solar is not only about solar is not only about the solar panels. It is about, if you talk about solar, there's a solar irrigation is also there. So that's called water irrigation or micro irrigation. Then SCADA system is there. That is also run through solar. And solar panel, I believe, within 5 years down the line, they will diminish. And the new technology is coming up. That is inkjet printing of solar cells, and it also creates electricity from the artificial light. It doesn't has go with the UV light, and you don't have to have space for it. That you the panels will be gone. You can cover a building with that thing up, it's just like a plastic sheet, and it will generate electricity. As compared to solar, it is more than that, 30% more than that. So it's called a weight to energy ratio is quite high, and it's 70% cheaper than a solar panel. And there are multiple uses of all these technologies. So it's not about only water in hydrogen. It's not only about solar in solar panels. It's about the usage of all these technologies into different sectors. So agriculture is one of them. The most important sector is agriculture, because in our country, agriculture plays a dominant part in our economy. So we have to incorporate all these technologies into this sector. So that's what my whole point is. Like, you all guys are PSUs, you're working towards good thing. Yeah, you're working towards betterment of our country. So what I propose, or what I understand is how a PSU should work or should go through. Like, you should go with the startups who all are doing all these technologies, who had all these technologies, and then incorporate all these technologies to our villages and all. Like, I will give you another example. Like, there's an NGO like Cycle Foundation. They're doing pretty awesome work with NIRPR, the National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj. So they are doing very good thing with them. They are uh, supplying all these zero waste water filters to the villages. And we also did in some parts of Bihar and UP, that we incorporate all those technologies for water. So those people can have good water, and the water should not also get wasted. So this is my whole point, and I was trying to wrap it up and sum up, because all the speakers have said everything what I was thinking, but these are certain points they were missing at that time. So I thought that I should speak about all these things. So again, request all of you, all the PSUs you are sitting over here, that incorporate or do some effort with the startups, or and you can have good collaboration with them. You have the market, and they also have the market, and they have the product also. So you guys can support them, and in a better way, the country should be, and it will be. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you very much. He was talking about startup and PSUs. I'd like to inform that ONGC itself every year about keeping 100 crores for the startups only. And they have a site where you have to register, give your presentation, and then they have the facility to even incubation of the new starters. So that they have a tie-up with IIT Mumbai. They can go there and incubate their whatever startup is there, and they can start their business. So that kind of things are there. Not only with ONGC, I think other PSUs are also having that kind of arrangements. So PSUs are encouraging startups. Only thing is the team who is evaluating them should be aware of all this, so they can get the good startup on renewables also. So now we have जो है आपका नंबर लास्ट में आएगा, फिर अग्रवाल जी बोल रहे थे नहीं वो अग्रवाल है, मैं बाद में बोलूँगा नाम से, मेरे को सुनना है उनको. So I'd like to request Sri Anush Sharma ji, Chairman E-Rickshaw Committee and Ministry of Road and Transport, to share his views. फोन रह गया.
थैंक यू महावर जी। मैं दीनदयाल जी से और CSR फाउंडेशन से काफ़ी समय से मिलता रहा हूँ और हम लोग इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स के ऊपर बहुत काम कर रहे हैं पिछले कई वर्षों में। मुझे जब पता लगा कि हमें ईवी को गो ग्रीन और ग्रीन से जोड़ के कुछ करना है, तो हम लोग तो 12 साल से इसी बात से लड़ रहे हैं कि कितनी जल्दी ये सब चीज़ें स्विच हों और हम लोग ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा ईवी को आगे देखें। अभी टॉपिक तो 3-4 हैं बोलने के लिए, जैसा आदेश हुआ आप लोगों की तरफ से, बट मैं थोड़ा अपने तरीके से इसको लेना चाह रहा था। हाँ, तो मुझे लगता है कि जिस तरह से हमारा देश आगे बढ़ रहा है, दुनिया में 700 करोड़ से ऊपर की जो पॉपुलेशन है और हम लोग इस समय 140 करोड़ को छू रहे हैं, और परसेंटेज के हिसाब से जो बिजनेस हमारे यहाँ पे है करने के लिए पूरी दुनिया हमें देख रही है। और हम डेवलपिंग कंट्री हैं, तो हमारे लोगों को ज़्यादा चीज़ों की ज़रूरत पड़ती है, टेक्नोलॉजी की और इन सब चीज़ों की। और इतना बड़ा मुल्क होने के कारण पॉल्यूशन और इन सब चीज़ों की समस्या से अभी हम जूझ ही रहे हैं। मित्रों, हम लोग जब रेट्रोफिटिंग की बात करते हैं कि जो सड़कों के ऊपर अभी व्हीकल्स चल रहे हैं, ये अगर इलेक्ट्रिक में कन्वर्ट हो जाएं और इससे कितनी एनर्जी और पैसा देश का बच सकता है, और इसमें क्या मोटर व्हीकल एक्ट रूल या और कुछ ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी यूज़ होके ये जल्दी से शुरू हो जाए, इसके ऊपर आज हम बात करने के लिए यहाँ बैठे हैं। मुझे लगता है कि जो कमर्शियल व्हीकल्स हैं, इनके ऊपर बहुत सारी कंपनीज अभी देख रही हैं कि इसको आगे आना चाहिए। आज से 40-50 साल पहले जब कभी किसी ने सोचा था कि इंडियन रेलवेज बिजली से चलनी चाहिए, इलेक्ट्रिक से कनेक्टिविटी, तो हम लोग काफ़ी लोग यहाँ पर उस एज में हैं जब काफ़ी यंग होंगे 30-20 साल पहले, कि कैसे डीजल या कोल के ऊपर से लाइन जाएगी, या जब मास्टर प्लान बने सिटीज़ के, मेट्रो सिटीज़ के, कि बीच में से मेट्रो निकलेगी, तो यूरोप में तो 40s में ही आ गई थी मेट्रो। तो हमें मान लीजिए दिल्ली मास्टर प्लान भी 1952 में जब बना, तो ये डिसाइड हुआ कि दिल्ली में यहाँ से मेट्रो जानी चाहिए। और अगर पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम में रेलवेज या मेट्रो या जो कमर्शियल बसेस हैं, ये सब ईवी में जाती हैं, तो हम लोग ये समझते हैं कि जो रोड पे अभी भी बसेस हैं उसमें कैसे रेट्रोफिटिंग से हम लोग कन्वर्ट करें। ऑलरेडी पिछले 15 या 20 वर्षों में हम उसको CNG में कन्वर्ट कर ही रहे हैं। मुझे लगता है कि अब ज़्यादा दूर है नहीं ये वाली प्रॉब्लम, टेक्नोलॉजी हमारे पास अवेलेबल है और हमें पता है कि हमें इसको कैसे उपयोग करना है। और भारत सरकार का धन्यवाद है इसमें कि मिनिस्ट्री ने ऑलरेडी इसके ऊपर जो भी नोटिफिकेशन थी या जो गजट थे वो निकाले हैं। और अभी इंडिया की काफ़ी सारी कंपनीज ऐसी आ रही हैं जो 3 और 4 व्हीलर्स को अभी इंट्रोड्यूस कर चुकी हैं। और जो एग्जिस्टिंग व्हीकल सड़क पे चल रहे हैं डीजल के, जिनकी एज 10 साल में ख़त्म हो रही है, और अगर उसको 5 साल का और ग्रेस पीरियड चाहिए, और अभी क्योंकि उसके अंदर कुछ इतना नुकसान तो हुआ नहीं है, गाड़ियां तो आपको पता ही है कि हम तो ऐसे मुल्क हैं कि हम तो 30-40 साल तक इसका उपयोग कर लेते हैं। और मुझे लगता है कि ये जल्दी से इसके ऊपर लोग काम कर रहे हैं और भी लोगों की ज़रूरत है। और इसमें अगर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स और भारत सरकार अपना CSR या और लोगों का पैसा भी लगता है, तो ज़्यादा आसानी से इसमें हेल्प मिल जाएगी। हम लोग इसमें ये भी चाह रहे हैं कि कुछ अलग से जो बजट पड़ा हुआ है स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से, जैसे पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड का कुछ पैसा पड़ा है या और सब चीज़ें हैं, इससे कुछ सब्सिडी मिल जाए तो हम लोग और गति से आ सकते हैं। समस्याएं ये होती हैं कि जब एक्ट रूल पे सरकार बात करती है, तो जो मैन्युफैक्चरर्स हैं उनको लगता है कि अगर पुरानी गाड़ियां या पुरानी मशीनरीज को रिकंडीशन करके यूज़ करेंगे तो हमारी सेल नीचे जाती है, तो वो कहीं ना कहीं उसको रोकने के लिए आगे आते हैं कि जी अभी इसको होल्ड करें, हमें अभी अपने प्लांट में और प्रोडक्शन करनी है। पर जब हम व्हीकल्स की बात करते हैं और EV की बात करते हैं, तो अभी तक तो हमारे इंडिया में मान लीजिए हमें बसेस चाहिए या 4 व्हीलर कार चाहिए या कमर्शियल 3 व्हीलर चाहिए, तो भी हमारे पास इसके लिए कोई मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इतनी फैसिलिटी है नहीं। और आपको पता ही है कि इसके ऊपर बहुत बड़ा जो सा पार्ट है वो इंपोर्ट में चाइना के ऊपर हम डिपेंड कर रहे हैं। तो जब तक हमारे यहाँ ये फैसिलिटीज नहीं खड़ी हो रही हैं और काम नहीं आगे बढ़ रहा है, तब तक हम ये पुराने व्हीकल्स को रेट्रोफिटिंग से कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं। मैं धन्यवाद करता हूँ नितिन गडकरी जी का, जो पिछले इतने वर्षों से ग्रीन फ्यूल पे काम कर रहे हैं और इस रेट्रोफिटिंग के लिए उन्होंने एक्ट, रूल और जो भी गजेट निकाले हैं कि लोग इसमें सामने आए। हम लोग तो कई बार जब बात करते हैं तो यही बात निकल के आती है कि ग्रीन फ्यूल हो या ईवी हो, इन सबको एक साथ हो जाना चाहिए ताकि क्रूड ऑयल को कैसे हम लोग जल्दी से इस तरफ लेके आए और जो ग्रीन क्लीन और हम लोग इसकी बात कर रहे हैं वो सामने नजर आए। दूसरा विषय जो मुझे सामने से बोलने के लिए कहा गया कि हम लोग जो लिथियम आयन बैटरीज हैं या इसकी रिसाइकलिंग के लिए हम लोग क्या सोचते हैं। मुझे लगता है कि अगले और 10 वर्षों में लगभग ये 20 लाख मैट्रिक टन से ऊपर तक इसका वेस्ट निकलना शुरू हो जाएगा। और अभी से हमें इसकी तैयारी करके शुरू करनी है, क्योंकि जो 2020 के बाद व्हीकल्स सड़कों पे आ रहे हैं, ऑलरेडी ई वेस्ट में टेलीकम्युनिकेशन की बैटरीज काफ़ी सारी अभी रिप्लेसमेंट के लिए आनी शुरू हो गई हैं। और मुझे काफ़ी लोगों ने बताया है कि कुछ स्टेट ऐसी हैं दिल्ली के आसपास, राजस्थान या उत्तर प्रदेश की, जहां वो वाली बैटरीज के सेल निकाल के और नया बीएमएस लगा के और उसको छोटे 3 व्हीलर्स के अंदर लोग यूज़ कर रहे हैं। बट कहीं ना कहीं हमें इसको थोड़ा ऑर्गेनाइज करके चलने की बात है, क्योंकि जो वो बैटरी सेल्स उस सेगमेंट में यूज हुए हैं वो इंडोर के लिए यूज हुए हैं और उसका टेम्परेचर कंट्रोल्ड है 25 डिग्री या 30 डिग्री, क्योंकि जब वो टावर में लगते हैं, बाकी जगह लगते हैं तो उसको एयर कंडीशनिंग में कंट्रोल होता है। बट जब हम व्हीकल में यूज करते हैं तो हम 45 डिग्री के एक टेम्परेचर के अंदर गाड़ी को चला रहे हैं, अंदर हीटिंग बढ़ती है। तो समस्या वहीं से शुरू होती है। हमने कई सारी न्यूज़ पिछले 1 साल 2 साल में देखी है कि छोटे व्हीकल जोन से हैं वो इस तरह की कुछ बैटरीज के कारण आग पकड़ रहे हैं और जिस कारण एक्सीडेंट बढ़ते जा रहे हैं। तो जब हम इन बैटरीज की रिसाइकलिंग की बात करते हैं तो उनको टेम्परेचर कंट्रोल, ऑटो कट या इन सब के ऊपर एक बड़ा सा काम होना है और भारत सरकार उसके ऊपर अलग से एक रूल रेगुलेशन या टेस्टिंग पैरामीटर के ऊपर काम कर रही है। और ऑटोमोटिव बैटरीज के लिए तो इसकी और ज़रूरत है, क्योंकि टेम्परेचर सबसे ज़्यादा हाई इन्हीं का जाता है। जब आप 45 डिग्री पे व्हीकल खड़ा करके जाते हैं और जब दोबारा उसको रन करते हैं तो अंदर का टेम्परेचर तो कहीं 60-65 डिग्री पार हो जाता है। तो रिसाइकलिंग के लिए हम लोग जो भी चीज़ें सोच रहे हैं वो ज़रूर होनी चाहिए। और ये क्योंकि हम अभी ऐसे मुल्क के अंदर रहते हैं जो अभी डेवलप हो रहा है, तो हमें इसकी सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है, क्योंकि लोगों की पेइंग कैपेसिटी बहुत कम है। हम जब व्हीकल खरीदने जाते हैं तो 40% शेयर तो बैटरी का होता है और फर्स्ट फेज में 2 व्हीलर में ही हमें लगभग 70 मिलियन स्कूटर चाहिए और 3 व्हीलर मोर देन 20 मिलियन चाहिए। तो अगर इस तरह की रिसाइकलिंग बैटरीज के ऊपर गाइडलाइन के हिसाब से हम लोग अगर बैटरीज बनाएं और इन चीज़ों को कंट्रोल करें तो हम इन बैटरीज को और अगले 5 से 8 साल यूज़ कर सकते हैं। मोर देन 1500-1200 साइकिल्स इसके और हम लोग इसको यूज़ कर सकते हैं। मुझे ये लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं जो ये कन्वर्ट हो रहा है क्रूड ऑयल या पेट्रोल को हम लोग पावर से यूज़ करने के लिए कर रहे हैं। हम लोग अभी डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि एनर्जी ग्रिड से भी आ रही है, सोलर से भी आएगी। इसमें गैप को पूरा करने के लिए सीएसआर और इन सब चीज़ों की बहुत आवश्यकता है। मान लीजिए मुझे ही एक स्कूटर खरीदना है और मैं किसी छोटे शहर में रहता हूँ। अब जो जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन लाइंस हैं या ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग या जो सब चीज़ें हैं वो लिमिटेड हैं, तो उसके लिए फिर हमें अलग से बजट की जरूरत पड़ती है। मान लीजिए इस होटल के अंदर ही नीचे 400 गाड़ी खड़ी हो सकती हैं, इसने 500 मेगावाट या किलोवाट का कुछ भी एक फिगर उसका एक लोड लिया हुआ है, और उन व्हीकल्स के लिए भी उसको 500 किलोवाट का लोड चाहिए, तो इतना पीछे से उसके लिए लाइन अवेलेबल नहीं है, ट्रांसफार्मिंग अवेलेबल नहीं है। मैं तो कई बार यही बोलता हूँ कि मान लीजिए दिल्ली में 2 करोड़ लोग रहते हैं, और उन 2 करोड़ लोगों में लगभग 3-4 लाख एसी लगे होंगे लोगों के घर में, तो एक एसी 3 किलोवाट का लोड लेता है, तो अगर उसने कार खरीदी है तो उसको भी इतना ही लोड चाहिए। तो भी हम लोग जब पिछले कई वर्षों में दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट से बात करते हैं, तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनी कहती हैं कि हमारे पास अभी फैसिलिटी है नहीं, और हम लोग कहाँ से इतनी लाइन देंगे, और कहाँ ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग होगी, और पीछे से भी ग्रिड से या कहीं से। तो इसलिए मेरे को ये लगता है कि इस तरह के अगर फंड से हम लोग सोलर से और इन सब चीज़ों से आगे आएँ, तो भारत सरकार ऑलरेडी 30% प्लस माइनस की सब्सिडी की बात करती है, और जो बचा हुआ पैसा है उससे अगर हम लोग लोन या इस तरह की सुविधा से या और भी तरीके से करें, तो इसको हम एक अलग से खड़ा कर सकते हैं। और जो आने वाला समय है, क्योंकि हम लोग विश्व गुरु बनने का सपना लेके इस देश के अंदर इतने वर्षों से चल रहे हैं, और भारत के प्रधानमंत्री इतनी मेहनत कर रहे हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं जिम्मेवारी हमारी इंडस्ट्री की और हम लोगों की रहती है कि हम लोग भी कहीं ना कहीं कोई शॉर्टकट ना करें, और जो दुनिया से हम टेक्नोलॉजी बाय कर रहे हैं, उनके पेटेंट यूज़ कर रहे हैं, हम लोग भी थोड़ा रिसर्च का काम करें, हम लोग अपने यहाँ पर इन सब चीज़ों को डेवलप करें, और जो क्लीन ग्रीन और ईवी है उसके लिए हम दुनिया के अंदर अलग से दिखें। आज जब हम लिथियम आयन बैटरी की बात करते हैं, तो मोर देन 95% शेयर चाइना का है, क्योंकि सारा पेटेंट और सब डेवलपमेंट उन लोगों ने इतने वर्षों में की है। पर अगर हम कुछ नई टेक्नोलॉजीज पे बात करें, और जिससे दुनिया में अलग से हमारे देश को लोग देखें, तो इसमें हम लोगों को आगे आना पड़ेगा, और उसके लिए जो सेटअप लगने हैं, सरकार तो मदद कर ही रही है, अलग से इंडस्ट्री एरिया बन रहे हैं, और ईवी पार्क के लिए भी अभी उत्तर प्रदेश ने ये जेवर एयरपोर्ट पे लगभग 800 एकड़ लैंड में 100 एकड़ डेडिकेटेड ईवी पार्क के लिए दिया है। तेलंगाना ने अभी 200 एकड़ के लिए अनाउंसमेंट किया है। तो मुझे लगता है कि हम लोग दुनिया को एक लीडर बन के दिखा सकते हैं, और जो हम ईवी का सपना लेके पिछले इतने वर्षों से चाइना को टक्कर दे रहे हैं, तो आने वाले 10 सालों में हम उनसे आगे निकल सकते हैं। और भी बहुत सारी बातें करने को हैं, बट किसी का कोई सवाल हो उसके भी बात कर सकते हैं। धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू अनुज शर्मा जी। आई थिंक गुड ओवरव्यूज। और ईवी में क्या हो सकता है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर जो हम कल से बात कर रहे हैं कि द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर शुड बी स्ट्रांग, so we have to work definitely for that, that how we can make it more capable of handling this EV load which is going to come. So that we will definitely. So now we have the final speaker of the day, Madam Joya Agarwal, Captain. I'll call Captain Joya. So Joya के बारे में बताया, she was not here at that time. I was telling. I think you might have heard on 9th January there was a flight started from San Francisco and landed at Bangalore with all women crew headed by Joya. She's a UN spokesperson for general equalities. That is also another. And if you go to the UN site, you will find her photos there. So मैंने जब पूछा कि आपका थोड़ा मुझे बायोडाटा चाहिए, उन्होंने कहा आप गूगल कर लीजिए। मैंने गूगल करने का तो गूगल पूरा भरा हुआ था, जोया अग्रवाल जो है। मैंने सोचा कौन सा देखूं, फिर मैंने देखा इनके फोटो से मैच किया, वो ये वाला है तो ठीक। So I could take it some things from that. So she'll be talking about aviation green sector के बारे में बात करेंगे. I think yesterday somebody was talking that they have flown a plane with a biofuel, and I think that one day we'll see Joy is flying a plane with the biofuel. So Joy, your turn.
नमस्कार, आप सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। बहुत बड़े शब्द हैं, मैं बहुत नन्ही सी लड़की हूँ इन बड़े शब्दों के लिए। Anyways, without much further ado, I was asked by my airline to come over here and represent us for sustainability, which we wholeheartedly at Air India believe in. So I'm here to represent Air India and the UN system as well. So I have heard amazing ideas today with all industry. I missed out a lot of them, but I have witnessed a lot of innovation today. And it's an eye opener as to how sustainability can change the future of tomorrow. That it is not a choice anymore, it is the only way towards the future. If we aim to leave a future that is for our future generations, we have to think green, we have to think clean, and we have to come together to support India's clean energy transition for all through multi partner initiatives of various industries and sectors benefiting from India's dynamic private sector and government leadership, and driving home the message that solutions to the triple planetary crisis are still within our reach. In order to work with our government, the responsibility lies with every single one of us to support PM Modi ji's vision of the renewable energy by 2030, increase its non-fossil energy capacity to 500 gigawatts by 2030, and reduce its projected carbon emissions by 1 million tons between now and 2030. And eventually, of course, we are aiming for a net zero by 2070. At the United Nations, the Sustainable Development Goals, or the global goals as we call it, are the collection of 17 interlinked global goals which are designed to be a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. The Sustainable Development Goals are a call for action by all countries, poor, rich, and middle income, to promote prosperity while promoting the planet at the same time. We are determined to protect the planet from degradation, including through sustainable consumption and production, sustainably managing its natural resources, and taking urgent action on climate change, which is a need of the hour, so that it can support the needs of the present and future generations. We have to mobilize the means required to implement this agenda through a revitalized global partnership for sustainable development based on a spirit of strengthened global solidarity, focus in particular on the needs of the poorest and most vulnerable, with the participation of all the countries, with all stakeholders, and all people. The interlinkages and integrated nature of sustainable development goals are of crucial importance in ensuring that the purpose of new agenda is realized. If we realize our ambitions across the full extent of the agenda, the lives of all will be profoundly improved and our worlds will be transformed for the better. We envisage a world in which every country enjoys sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth and a decent work for all economy, a world in which consumption and production patterns and use of all natural resources from air to land, rivers, lakes, aquifers to oceans, seas are sustainable. So let's talk about air from here, which of course I'm representing today. In the air, as he was talking about, we did this path-breaking North Pole flight last year, which was of course flown by, I'm very happy and proud to say, four Bharat ki betis. Uh, I flew with three other women captains, setting a world record. And Air India did that. India did that. And that is what our commitment towards sustainability is. Because that flight was the epitome of sustainability. I'll tell you how. We have always believed in leaving a cleaner, greener future of tomorrow as the India's flag carrier. And every single flight that you do over the North Pole, which was the start last year, you're saving 10 tons of fuel. 10 tons of fuel is 10,000 kilograms of gasoline. And let's calculate what that translates into. We have about 10 such flights every day. And if you do these flights for 365 days, of course, I'm just giving you a very conservative because I'm not taking the 366 years into effect. So if you talk about that, you're saving about 36.5 million liters of fuel. Can you imagine how much of 36.5 million liters of fuel is? That is 10 million gallons of fuel every single year. And that, when you translate into the carbon emissions, it comes to 88,870 metric tons of emissions. And do you know what that is? What that can do? This is equivalent to the greenhouse gas emissions from almost 20,000 gasoline powered passenger vehicles driven for one whole year. That is how much green planet we are leaving behind. That is the amount of carbon emission that we are saving by introducing routes like North Pole routes, which in Air India, we were the first Indian carrier to do such routes in India. So it's a great initiative by any Indian carrier and a very bold one to save the planet, which is envisioned with PM Modi ji's vision for a greener tomorrow and net zero by 2070. 20,000 gasoline powered passenger vehicles driven for one year, 220 million miles driven by an average gasoline powered passenger vehicle, 98 million pounds of coal burned, almost 12,000 homes powered every year. This is what Air India has achieved for a greener tomorrow by the initiative of the North Pole flight, and which I have been personally involved with. So I can talk about with great amount of pride that we at Air India are fully committed to a greener and a better sustainable future for tomorrow, in line with PM Modi ji's, our government's vision for a net zero by 2070. Namaskar, Jai Hind, Dhanyavad.
थैंक यू जो है, थैंक यू वेरी मच. आई थिंक आपने सब लोगों को पूरा एकदम एनर्जाइज कर दिया है. When Air India can do so much, I think the oil industry and other industries who are sitting here, they can do much more than that. क्यों भाई, कर सकते हैं नहीं? तो जोर से बोलो यार. Yes, you can. Yes, we can. So thank you for the spirit. I think really मैं वही सोच रहा था कि अगर सोलर पावर से हवाई जहाज चलेगा तो वेदर शी विल फ्लाई विद दैट. आई थिंक आई विद द जोश, जितना जोश इसमें भरा हुआ है, तो मुझे लगता है वो भी उड़ा लेगी. So with this we have come to end of this session. Anybody has any question? We'll have one or two questions. Where chief guest is already on the way. I think we'll be here in 5 minutes. No questions? Chale, good. So no questions, please. Our speakers were very, okay. अच्छा, मिश्रा जी को कुछ आ गया डाउट. हाँ हाँ, अरे भाई माइक दीजिए.
Yeah, there's a question for Zoya. Why is it that flying over North Pole saves fuel? I mean, it's a shorter route, that's why? Okay. I mean, this is the aspect was being missed out. Okay, it's a shorter route, that's why. Fine. Nothing to do with the pole itself.
So in aviation, we typically fly the Great Circle routes. What that means is if you connect any 2 points on the globe, that's the shortest distance, which we ideally fly. And when you consider two antipodes, which are two diametrically opposite points on the globe, like That was PM Modi ji's dream flight to connect the two Silicon Valleys, which was San Francisco to Bengaluru. If you see on the globe, there are two diametrically opposite points. And what these kind of routings does is when we typically operate flights like India to the US, they are located diametrically opposite, mostly. So it kind of saves a lot of distance. When you, rather than going east-west, you can just go north and then come back down. So that is how you end up saving massive amounts of fuel, and of course, work towards sustainability and reduce the carbon emissions as well.
Thanks.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today, right?
Actually, Joy was not there, that's why it was not done.
No, I think what happens is every idea, it takes a lot of time to kind of, every vision, it takes time to go through various steps of approvals, understanding, So this is a very challenging route. It's not a normal route because you're not only just flying over the pole, you're flying over an area where you have a diversion. Your average temperatures over those airports are minus 50 degrees in summers. So if you have a diversion, you need to have polar suits, you need to have clearances, you need to have clearances for the crew, for the pilots, and something like a polar suit, which is typically very, very expensive. Like if I were to wear it, it is 15 kilos or so exactly. So there are a lot of things which are checking the box for a challenging flight like polar flight, because it's not like east-west where you have a greater distance and of course a greater fuel consumption and time as well, where you are, surrounded by normal airports where you can divert to. Over here, things are challenging, and if things go wrong, you don't have so much of margin to play with. So that is why it took time to conceptualize, to plan, and our whole Air India team was working tirelessly for years. So finally, it happened, and we are so happy that PM Modi ji's dream came true through this flight.
Risk with all safety precautions. Great. Thank you very much. हमारा क्वेश्चन अभी पहले तुम बोल रही थे, अब तुम्हें भी क्वेश्चन आ गया। ये हमारे सीएफओ को देख के सीईओ actually he is worried because he is a CEO of ISPRL, who is strategic reserves which we have for petroleum. So he said that you have saved so much, so he's very happy. Yes. Last question
from Anush sir. Sir, as we have totally dependent on lithium-ion battery for battery energy vehicle, battery electric vehicle. We know, sir, lithium is totally imported from China, Australia, and Chile. Why we not consider on aluminum battery or zinc battery? Because I think India has very big reservoir for aluminum. So I saw a very bright future. Why we not exploring that option, aluminum battery for our battery electric vehicle?
देखिए, 3 तरह से बैटरी यूज हो रही है। टेलीकम्युनिकेशन में यूज हो रही है, एक एनर्जी स्टोरेज सिस्टम में हो रही है, एक ऑटोमोटिव बैटरीज हैं। आपके पास कोई भी टेक्नोलॉजी किसी जानकार पे अवेलेबल है तो आप AIS जो स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं 042 आप उसमें उसकी टेस्टिंग के लिए डाल दें। अगर वो चार्ज डिस्चार्ज एज पर व्हीकल जो कंपनीज को चाहिए करता है तो मुझे लगता है कि हम लोग यूज कर सकते हैं।
सर हम लेटेस्ट काफी सुन रहे हैं सर, अल्युमिनियम बैटरी और
नहीं,
जिंक बैटरी बारे में बहुत सुन रहे हैं।
वो आपने सही बोला, जो ये बोल रहे हैं कि देयर आर अवेलेबल,
बहुत सारे लोगों ने बहुत सारी चीजें बनाई हैं, बट जब तक
लिथियम में एक ही प्रॉब्लम, लिथियम बैटरी ठीक है हर जगह, हम लोग इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल में लिथियम बैटरी यूज करना चाहते, लिथियम बैटरी यूज करना चाहते हैं, बट वी हैवंट गॉट द रिजर्व ऑफ लिथियम बैटरी, इट इज टोटली इंपोर्टेड फ्रॉम अदर कंट्रीज। व्हाई वी हैवंट रिलाई ऑन
मैं उस बात को समझ रहा हूं, मैं कुछ और कह रहा हूं। मेरा कहना है कि किसी भी देश में मोटर व्हीकल एक्ट और रूल है, उस रूल के स्टैंडर्ड पे वो बैटरी अगर बनी होगी तभी वो व्हीकल में लग सकती है। उसकी चार्जिंग, डिस्चार्जिंग, उसकी हीटिंग और वो जो स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं अगर वो मीट नहीं करता है, ब्यूरो ऑफ इंडियन स्टैंडर्ड्स है, ऑटोमोटिव इंडियन स्टैंडर्ड है, अगर हमारे स्टैंडर्ड पे वो नहीं है तो हम यूज नहीं कर पाएंगे। बट चार्जिंग ही करना नहीं है सेल को।
सर लिथियम बैटरी चार्जेबल बैटरी नहीं है, दे आर वन टाइम यूजेबल बैटरी, वी हैव टू रिप्लेस एल्युमिनियम एवरी टाइम।
हम लोग टेस्टिंग में बहुत सारी बैटरी को देख रहे हैं, अगर इस तरह की बैटरीज अगर टेस्टिंग में आती हैं तो हम इंडस्ट्री में इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे। और मुझे लगता है कि हम नई टेक्नोलॉजी को ही देख रहे हैं। जो बात मैं कह रहा हूँ यही कह रहा हूँ कि हमें लिथियम से बाहर निकलना है, तो जो नई टेक्नोलॉजी हमारे लोग बनाएंगे उसको हम पूरी दुनिया को दिखाएंगे। इसी पे बोला है मैंने।
चलिए, गुड। तो लगता है तुम लेके आने वाला अगली टेक्नोलॉजी। इन्होंने क्लू दे दिया कहाँ जाना है, एंड आई एश्योर द ओएनजीसी विल फंड यू एज ए स्टार्टअप। हाँ, तो मैं उसके लिए मैं ट्राई करूँगा। आई मीट द चेयरमैन ऑफ ओएनजीसी पर्सनली एंड आस्क फॉर द फंडिंग। करो, लेकिन इसको करना है। लेट अस डू दैट. So now we come to the end of this session. I think very eminent personalities sitting here. A big round of applause for all the speakers. Very good inputs. A lot of questions were coming up. So thank you very much. So now we will do the felicitation, that token of appreciation. So first to Mr. Shekhar Kulkarni, I would like to call Mr. Kumar Prabhakar from DGH. Is there? Mr. Kumar Prabhakar. बताएं शेखर कुलकर्णी। आज अभी शेखर नाम सुनाई नहीं देता क्या वहां पे? नेक्स्ट विल गिव एक मिनट। So, Honorable Chief Guest Sri K.G. Balkrishnan, former Chief Justice of India, has arrived. So, big round of applause for him. So, just sir, with this small felicitation, we'll call you. So, next is felicitation to Sandeep Thang. And I would like to call Mr. Pawan Kumar, who is there from Ahmedabad Asset. Next is Mr. H.N. Joshi. And I would like to call Mr. Kishore Kumar Bismal, Joint Director. Next is Joy Agarwal, and I would like to call Nisa Rani. मैंने निशा को बुलाया, one of the young engineer. Next is Gaurav Singh Thakur, and I would like to call Mr. S.K. Jha from ONGC Academy, who is there. S.K. Jha is there? No, then I'll call Mr. Rahul Bali, yeah, ISPRL. Next is Mr. Anush Sharma. I will call Mr. V.C. Singh if it is there. Mr. V.C. Singh? No, he's not there. So I'll call Mr. Rajiv Kumar, Head of Environment from ONGC. Thank you. I call everyone to come to the stage for a group photograph. Thank you, all the speakers. Please take your seats. So, friends, we are coming to the end of this program, the last session, the valedictory session. We would like to request Sri Honorable Sri K.G. Balakrishnan ji, former Chief Justice India, to come to the stage, and I ask Mr. Agarwal, Deendyan Agarwal, to escort him to the dais, please. Other dignitaries, please come to the dais. I think Mr. Ghosh and Sharma ji.
संतोष जी, आप जो भी आशीष जी,
संजय जी, आप कॉल कर लीजिए, कॉल हो गए, सब आ गए. तो अभी हम ज़्यादा किसी से भाषण नहीं दिलवाएंगे. हम वी वांट दैट आवर चीफ गेस्ट ऑनरेबल श्री के.जी. बालकृष्णन जी will have the final remark, and then we'll have a distribution of certificates to all the participants. So that will be the ultimate last program for us. And I request Sri K.G. Balakrishna ji to come, or you can use the mic, sir. If you can speak from there, that liberty is with you. Yeah. So he'll be giving us the last remark on this conference.
Distinguished personalities who adorn the dais, and dear friends who have come from the various institutions to participate in this function. As regards the subject, all of you may be knowing, some of you may be very, very expert in this field. I have come only to learn something, but I could not participate yesterday or today, the function, because of my other busy schedule. But in all countries, through the world, they are now thinking of alternative energy sources. What else we can, this fossil energy, how long we can continue with this fossil energy? It may exhaust, it may cause serious environmental problems, it may cause the serious problems for the financial problems for the country. So all countries are trying to, all the countries are researching how the green energy, other source of energy. And it is said that the sunlight and the wind is the most suitable energy sources and how to trap it, this sun energy and this wind energy. That also is a little bit expensive. That may have its own problem. But as you all know, sun energy, we want energy to light and surroundings, and in the night it is not available. So it is, but for other work, the sun energy is a unending source of energy. Sun provides everything to the to the plants and animals and the human being and all sorts of it is that is the main. So India, the world exists, all the planets exist because of the source emanated from the sun. So it is sun is the main source of energy, and now the technology has improved. We have to use the technology, how to make use of the technology, and that technology can be used extensively, and it should be also be shared. Germany may have a advanced technology. England and France may have still further technology. We have to share the technology and make use of it, and so that our life in this planet, in this the earth, should be more and more enjoyable, comfortable, friendly, and it is that is the main purpose of this. And I extend my heartfelt thanks uh, to thinking of such a meeting and thinking of the energy sources and have discussions and cooperate with the governmental activities. That is something is remarkable. The which is that is one where various corporate groups, various NGOs, various other government employees, senior employees, and all cooperate and think of how we can move forward in this situation. That is more important. And I thank you very much for inviting to this August gathering. And thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you, sir, for your valuable advice. We'll definitely seek that how the technology transfer can take place smoothly, and we can also grow along with that. And we can also develop, because I have seen some of our friends who are sitting in the audience. They are they have a lot of no technological tech savvy, I can say, and they are willing to develop some of the technologies which will be upcoming and will be helpful to produce green and clean energy at a very affordable price. So that I can assure, because the kind of interaction we have. So now we will be, Ravi, you are ready with this? List is there? Okay. So we'll be giving a small token of remembrance, just that you were present in were present in this conference. So I'll request Ravi to come here. The final thing, if you have any suggestion or something coming to your mind, please send it, mail us to csrgoodwill@gmail.com. csrgoodwill@gmail.com. So anything coming to your mind, or any topic you feel that can be useful for future generation, we will definitely will be happy to do submit on that. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. After 2 days of 2 long days of deliberations, now the final session is here where we will be giving some certificates to our participants. For that, I would like to invite our chief guest to come forward along with other dignitaries to come forward, and I'll call one by one. So, guys, please come and receive your certificates. Thank you. I would like to invite Mr. Vijay Singh Mandol from ONGC Limited. Next, Mr. SM Agarwal from ONGC. Guys, please give a good round of applause for the guys. It has been a patient listening from your guys. Mr. Vijay Singh Mandol, then Mr. SM Agarwal. Mr. Pankaj Gupta from ONGC. Mr. Vipul Kumar Sharma, ONGC. गाइस तालियां बजती रहे प्लीज, आपका भी नंबर आएगा. Mr. Vipul Kumar Sharma is here. Miss Ankita Nagpal. Ankita ji is here. अभी किसका आ गया? विपुल कुमार शर्मा जी आइए ना प्लीज. विपुल जी सर्टिफिकेट देते जाओ मैम. हाँ सर्टिफिकेट दे दीजिए मुझे. मुकेश सर्टिफिकेट दे जिनका नाम. श्री SM अग्रवाल जी. श्री किशोर कुमार भीमवाल जी. मिस्टर किशोर कुमार भीमवाल. गाइस श्री महेश कुमार PR, HLL Life Care Limited. Guys, please clap. A good round of applause for our participants. Shri Chanel K. Andrews. Mr. Chanel K. Andrews. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Shri Pankaj Gupta ji, GM, ONGC. Shri Manoj Kumar Mishra, Plant Manager, ONGC. Shri Karan Gupta ji, Assistant Executive Engineering, ONGC. Miss Ankita Nagpal. Sorry for the delay, ma'am. Shri Shekhar B. Kulkarni. Shri Shekhar B. Kulkarni ji, please sir. Shri Rajiv Kumar. Shri Rajiv Kumar Tamuli ji. Rajiv Kumar Tamuli ji. I think he's not here. I think he's... Shri Binod Kumar. Shri Shakil Ahmed. Shakil Ahmed, he's not here. Mr. Abhishek Meena. Mr. Abhishek Meena, he's here, he's coming. Shri Sanjay Kumar Sharma, CGM ONGC. Shri Arvind Bhatia. Mr. Arvind Bhatia. Shri Nitish Upadhyay. Shri Nitish Upadhyay. Mr. Sudesh Pawar. Mr. Sudesh Pawar. Shri Prakash Kumar. Mr. Prakash Kumar. Mr. Neeraj Kumar, ONGC. Mr. Neeraj Kumar. Umesh Kumar Gautam. Guys, a good round of applause for the guys. Shri Vipin Kapoor ji. Shri Vipin Kapoor, Shri Vinay Patni, Mr. Vinay Patni. If anybody else from his team, that guy also can come and take. No, thank you. Shri Rahul Bali, Mr. Rahul Bali, Shri Naman Rawat, Mr. Naman Rawat, Miss Shobnik Kaur, Miss Shobnik Kaur, sorry. Shobnik Kaur. Shri Madhusudan Tomar, Mr. Madhusudan Tomar from ONGC. If anybody from his team, then he can also come and collect his certificate. Shri Kumar Prabhakar, Mr. Kumar Prabhakar, Mr. Prabhakar. Mr. Pavan Kumar Jalutharia, Pavan Kumar Jalutharia. Shri Keshav Kumar, Shri Keshav Kumar, Shri Ashutosh Kumar, ONGC, Mr. Ashutosh Kumar, ONGC, not here. Shri Basant Bahadur, Mr. Basant Bahadur, he's from NHPC. If anyone else from NHPC can also come and collect. No. Okay. Shri Chanchal, Miss Chanchal Chauhan, Chanchal Chauhan, not here. Coming, come. Chanchal Chauhan. Shri Abhinav Kumar, Mr. Abhinav Kumar from ONGC. Shri Abhishek Kumar, Mr. Abhishek Kumar, Manager NFL. Abhishek Kumar. Shri Gopeshwar Kumar Singh, CFO, ISPR Limited. Gopeshwar ji. Shri Ajay Dashore, Mr. Ajay Dashore, ISPR, not here. Not here. Ajay ji. CA Sanjay Jain ji. अब हमारी टीम की बारी आ गई। CA संजय जी। Mr. Shreyansh Raj, Shri Shreyansh Raj, he's here. Guys, clapping please. A good round of applause for the guys. Thank you. Shri Prashant Singh, Mr. Prashant Singh, ONGC. Mr. Hargovind Savaiya, DGM, ONGC. Miss Aditi Das, Miss Aditi Das. Aditi is not here. Anybody? Yeah, yes, you can come, please. Mr. Pradeep Narwal. Just please for 5 minutes. We will have a group photograph later on and then we'll disperse. Just 5 more minutes, guys. You have been here for 2 long days. Mr. Pradeep Narwal. Pradeep Narwal is not here, I think. Mr. Sanjay Ganju. Mr. Sanjay Ganju ji, not here. No. Shri Anand Menon, Mr. Anand Menon, Sudeep Jain ji, Sudeep Kumar Jain, Sudeep Kumar Jain ji, Mr. S.K. Jha, Mr. S.K. Jha, ONGC, Mr. S.K. Jha, Shri Naveen Gupta, NHPC, guys, तालियां बजती रहें. Naveen Gupta ji is not here. Pramod Maheshwari ji, I think he is not here. CA Pramod Maheshwari ji. Shri Gaurang Tiwari ji, Mr. Gaurang Tiwari, Mr. Rohit Chaudhary, नहीं done. हाँ रोहित चौधरी जी हैं, आइए. मिस्टर रोहित चौधरी. हाँ, अगर कोई पार्टिसिपेंट रह गया, if anyone has left, can please come forward because there has been some hiccup last minute in the list. If anyone is here who is not got his certificate, राजू जी आइए जी, आइए. राजू नरूला जी. कंपनी के हाँ तो कौन सी कंपनी वाले जो हैं, कुछ कंपनी वाले, हाँ मतलब घोष सर का कंपनी का है, आइरेडा कंपनी. बात ठीक है, कंपनी का अलग रख लो. कंपनी एक दे दो. हाँ हाँ. Guys, team from IRIDA IRE Day, IRIDA team, please come forward. Entire team. Sorry. Group photograph. I request everyone to come forward for a group photograph, and we will give these. Everyone please come forward after this photograph. Everyone please come forward for a group photograph. All the executives, please come. आ जाइए आगे आ जाइए, नीचे एक लाइन बन जाएगी.
मैं सभी का बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं, और साथ ही जो हमारे स्पॉन्सर हैं, जो इरेडा, BHEL, आपके प्रोफेस, फ्लाइस और बहुत सारी कंपनियों में, तो उनका भी बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं. और हमारे जो आज के इस वैरायटी सेशन के चीफ गेस्ट जो हैं, मैं KG बालाकृष्ण जी का बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं कि उन्होंने हमारे आतिथ्य को स्वीकार किया. बहुत बहुत आपका आभार, अभिनंदन. वेरी वेरी थैंक्स यू सर. थैंक यू सर. आप भी आइए. अंत में मैं आपसे सभी गुजारिश करूंगा कि एक तिवारी स्वीट का यहाँ एक दुकान है, हमारे ऑफिस के पास ही है, और जो वहाँ से लोग आए हुए हैं, बहुत कभी बॉम्बे से, दही से, अहमदाबाद बात से, उनके लिए हमने आधी आधी किलो का लड्डू का एक पैकेट रखा है. तो आप आगे मेन गेट पे है, मैं अभी आ रहा हूँ, आप सब लेके जाएं. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. आशा है कि जो हमारी कमियां हैं हम अगली बार दूर करने की कोशिश करेंगे, और आपका प्यार हमेशा ऐसा ही मिलता रहे, ऐसी हम आप कामना करते हैं. शुभकामना. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. थैंक यू. वंदे मातरम. सॉरी, अरे मोहित जी का हैं? सर का भी तो ना एक बार। अरे, एक क्या ये वो सर का स्वागत करें। वही तो, सर आइए। सर एक जो हमारे मित्र हैं इनका एक दिन था कोई ना जाए सबको स्वीट स्वीट मिलता है। हाँ थैंक यू। और मैं चाहूंगा कि एस के घोष जी से कि वो एक मोमेंटो साहब का भी दें और एक स्वागत के लिए एक उनका एक हमने एक दुपट्टा रखा है एक बढ़िया सा एक उनको स्वागत करें। वस्त्र कहते हैं क्या कहते हैं थोड़ा जैसा भी है। एक मिनट वो सर अभी अल्लाह रहे अरे दो यार क्या कर रहे हो ये तो दो पहले यार ये तो आइए संतोष जी आइए सर भाई साहब भी आओ। अरे वो सर क्या होता है कि व्यवस्थाएं बहुत सारी होती है लोटो थैंक यू। हो गया